And we're live.
Oh.
Yep. So, I mean, I could play the commercial again, but we'll play it at the end today.
Okay, sounds good.
So, anyway, a notification from YouTube telling me we're all live and everything. So, somebody asked me today, says, do you guys really do a podcast every Monday night? And I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
what do
you
you
know,
do? We eat food and we drink.
Yes, it's not a bad thing. So, you know what I just realized? You know what I am missing? I'm not
What?
that I'm missing. I'm really not missing it. My sparkling wine is not here. I have all my stuff, but not my wine. I left it in the fridge.
No, and wait a minute. No, because we did mimosas. I'm going to go. Yeah, well, you go get that. It's like I've got 3 different juices to make mine with.
Oh, I only have 2.
I went through. Well, I know the grapefruit you weren't going to do because you don't like grapefruit, but I love it, and I'm like, I'm going to do all 3, and I've got 3 separate glasses to do it in, all that stuff. So, anyway, why don't you run and get yours? We'll get started here.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about what we're going to do here today, and while you run and get your bubbly.
Thank you. Be right back.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Gillette and Gladys Boutwell. Our show tonight, Like the Way You Drink podcast. We are going to do a brunch type idea, and that is, often you go to some places that have what we do. Like I can tell you, there's a lot of bakery type places that would have this, but we talked about the idea, and I'm not sure exactly if Gladys went the exact same route as I did, but we did pick a champagne or a bubbly sparkling to use. We both chose the Mum Brut. All right. And let's see when she brings it back if she has the same one. We're going to do mimosas. Now, I have 3 different types of juices with mine. You do the same? So, yep. See, so we have the same, the same bubbly. Mimosas done mostly, almost everybody thinks mimosas with orange juice. Now, I've got just Kroger orange juice here. But there's other ones I've had it with, and that is pineapple juice, which I've always got cans of Dole pineapple juice in my pantry. But Gwen got this because I guess she probably couldn't find it in small. I wanted to find just a small container because I love it with grapefruit juice and the ruby red, of course, because it's the sweetness of the ruby red that I like it. So those are the 3 things I'm going to mix tonight and try. But our food tonight, you got pineapple Dole as well.
And this is the Simply Orange. This is what used to be Trop 50, which is now considered light.
Yeah.
But orange juice, I did not need the whole thing.
I know. It's like, this is what I said to Gwen, get me small containers.
You know what? That's cheaper than getting the
It
small.
is. Because this is the orange and a small container. And I'll bet you she paid more for this orange than she did for that full thing of grapefruit. So the food we chose tonight was the old bagel, salmon. All right. You do capers onto it. You do, what was the other, the lox onto it. I made mine up. I've got an everything bagel. I did all my prep ahead of time. Gladys is going to make hers, but I do mine with an everything bagel. I have regular salmon. I have some in the capers on there. I have some chopped red onions. I actually had a few chopped red onions left over from a recipe I did yesterday. So I just pulled them out of the refrigerator and put them in. Oh, wow. Now I didn't have the tomatoes. All right. Yeah. In my cream cheese, though, I took and put all of my herbs in the cream cheese. So it's a little more like a veggie spread. And I'm going to tell you the ones I did because something I like to do on this is usually like fresh dill. I just don't have any.
Okay.
Didn't have any. It didn't have a lot of the caper. Didn't have all the other stuff fresh. So I mean, I added a bunch of it here. I think the scallions we added. I added. I think I had some basil in here. Added some dill. Added some celery salt. Like really. And I literally, I didn't put it in a blender and whip it up. No, I just fork turned it. All right. To make it really, really good. And I brought that in because that's what's on there. And I brought the rest of the container of what I mixed up, which I'm probably going to have on bagels for tomorrow and the next day, along with the rest of the leftover salmon, which my daughter can't eat. And it's in the house and I'm going to eat salmon or my wife's going to eat salmon for breakfast. I don't know which one's going to be. So, yes, Mark, we're all living the good life. We do. We do. Anyway, so Gladys, share with people what you actually put together for tonight's show.
So I ended up with a plain bagel. I've done my lox before with everything bagels. I've done it with onion bagel. And what I realized is that I would rather go with a plain bagel. And the reason for that is, for me, and even my cream cheese, this is Tillamook cream cheese that I'm utilizing. So this is local. And I like.
Oh, wait a minute. All right. Just to show where we're from, what cream cheese do you think Tim got?
Philadelphia.
I wonder where Tim is from originally.
So the reason that I did this is because I realized that I really like the flavor of the salmon, and I like the way it plays with the tomatoes, the onions, the capers, a little bit of the lemon juice, and so I've realized, oh, that looks gorgeous. But I've realized that if I go with the plain bagel and the plain cream cheese, but good cream cheese, and I have some good tomatoes, and some good lox or smoked salmon, then all those flavors are just going to come up. And so that's why I opted now this time. So what I originally did is that I went to the bakery, and I was at Kroger. So I went to the bakery and got because they do have a bakery there. But then I came across their a brand that I was like, Lenders, and it was in the refrigerated area. So then I got Lenders, and I said, okay, what is this Lenders, and why had I not seen them before? Now, the reason was that they originally, Lenders has been around for a long time. Since 1927, they started in Connecticut, and they did the boiling and then the baking to get the perfect crust and get it soft and chewy and what have you. And they grew, and it became North America's leader in marketing, distribution, and the sale of bagels. They were the ones who introduced the frozen bagel and the first to sell the packaged bagel at supermarkets. Eventually, they became the biggest bagel producer by the 1960s. They were selling to the army before they started selling to the public in that capacity. And the sons ended up running the business for an additional 30 years. Well, in 1984, Lender's Bagel was sold to Kraft Foods. Then in 2003, it became part of Pinnacle Foods. In 2018, it was sold to Conagra. And then the Lender's Bagels portion was sold to Bimbo Bakery. And it wasn't until, and this is why I had not seen them, they were relaunched in 2022 with new recipes, new packaging. They highlighted the company's history, used the bold blue colors, and they also made it with with healthier ingredients. No high fructose corn syrup in there. They're part of the Entenmann's brands, Thomas's, Sara Lee's, Oro Wheat, Ballpark, Bay's Muffin, Bimbo, the Cheesecake Factory at Home, Grandma Sycamore Homemade Bread, and Rustic Bread. So they are part of a larger conglomerate, but there's some really nice history behind them. And I went, oh, this was kind of cool. I kind of had gotten just a brief history, but then once I deep dive, I got all the other information. The other thing that I did was I was at Kroger, ended up going to Safeway to get my salmon because Kroger did not have what I wanted. And so when I looked up, Safeway did. So I ended up picking up because I got everything yesterday except for the lox, which I got today. And so it was from Ocean Beauty Seafood, which is Lasco, but they were the Washington Fish and Oyster Company that started in Pier 54 in Seattle, Washington. So again, coming to the Pacific Northwest. And so in 1910 is when they became Ocean Beauty Seafood. And they were the producing and distributing the best the ocean had to offer. That was their goal and what they wanted to do. Well, they then opened up locations in Boise in 57, Helena in 64, Portland in 74, Astoria and Salt Lake City in 82. And so then and finally in Dallas, they are in Dallas in 2001, and they are still in all those locations. Well, in 1995 is when they smoked the smoked seafood business which includes Lasco. This is where Lasco came into place in 1995. And in 2020, the Alaska processing merged with Icicle Seafoods. And so then that formed the OBI Seafoods, or Ocean Beauty Seafoods, which has retained the history. So that was kind of cool. So that's the history on the brand. But then when you're looking at the differences between your lox, your smoked salmon, and the Nova, this is actually Nova. I had the option to do lox or Nova. Well, lox is cured in salt for several weeks, but it's never cooked. So it has that raw texture and saltier flavor that I absolutely love. I really like lox. And that's originally what was on toasted bagels with cream cheese. There's the smoked salmon that's preserved and smoked for at least 18 hours at 85 degrees Fahrenheit, resulting again in that raw texture similar to lox. And then you have the Nova, which is what I have here, which they normally use Pacific sockeye for this. It is cured in a salt brine, but then it takes that extra step of the cold smoking, which gives that little smoky aroma, less salty than the classic lox, but it has that subtle flavor. And so it used to be originally called Nova because it's from Nova Scotia, but now it describes the type of preparation. Well, I wanted that less salty, that smokier, so hence why I went with Nova today. Purple onion over here, my capers, Tillamook cream cheese, my tomatoes, of course, lemon over here, and my bagel, which I will build in a moment, and I will make a complete mess. I have my pineapple as well as my Dole pineapple, as well as my Simply Orange light orange juice. This one has no pulp in it, but it is calcium C and vitamin D, so that's why I went with that. And of course, I will let you give the history of the Mum Sparkling. And Mum also has, they also have a rosé. And a
Which we love at this house, by the way.
This is so I haven't opened it. I don't know if I have my little guy that keeps the bubbles.
Well, I have one here in the house, but I figured we'd be all right for the hour we were open.
Yeah, and you can always and people will scoff at it, but if you put a spoon in there, it will help those bubbles stay if it's a short period of time. You don't want it for more than a few hours because it will not hold. You truly need one of the stoppers that's specifically for this. Always face it away, and we've mentioned this before, away from you, away from windows, away from anybody that can get hurt. And you also want to make sure, you can always, as you're doing that, you can always keep a nail or a finger over here so it doesn't accidentally pop off. You can also use a napkin, a towel, anything when you are doing this. And you want to turn the bottle, not the cork. I sometimes succeed in it, but sometimes I don't. Some corks are,
See, I just leave it pointing up because I don't want it to hit my computer. I would rather take out my ceiling than my computer.
Right. I usually put it up against me just because it's easier for me as I'm working on it. And I think the last time I tried to open one, it was, I had a hard time. Yep. And
See?
Of course,
no problem.
Easy peasy. Yeah, I usually have a harder time. And it'll take me a moment. I might have to go off camera so I don't embarrass myself as I turn the bottle. I'm trying to hold the cork and turn the bottle, but I'm struggling a little bit here. So I might need, it could be that
I mixed my 3 glasses while you're doing that. I didn't mix. I just have the juice in there.
Got it.
I'm going to add one by one. I'm going to add, my sparkling to it.
There you go. That looks beautiful. I love all the colors. Now, it depends on where you're going. Sometimes they'll have them pre-mixed. If you're at a brunch and you're at a restaurant, believe me, they do have plenty of sparkling in there. Usually when I get one, I want mine 3/4 sparkling and 1/4 orange juice.
All right, I did 40-60 instead.
Yeah, some people will do the 50-50. Others will do, it just depends. For me, it's all about the color. and I keep turning this bottle. I might have to give it a rest.
All right. So,
Yes, I've actually.
Robert, so you can afford the Moet. Believe it or not, price Mum in your local markets compared to Moet. You will find Mum is pretty reasonably priced compared to Moet.
Yeah,
Very reasonably priced, and it's a California-based sparkling.
Moet, you get a little bottle like this for like $24.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I actually ended up getting it on sale at Kroger. It was less expensive.
When we were looking at it last week, we were looking at it online, and it was showing in the 17 to 19 range, which is what we've typically paid for over the last couple of years. Is 17 to 19. The Moets run about 15 to 17.
It was $16.99 at Kroger, and it was $19.99 at Safeway because I walked right by there when I went to get the locks, because I just kind of went to that aisle. So it was less expensive at
now
at
the one that I love, Viva Coco. I can't say that right. That's my favorite that we get, and you can find them in smaller bottles. And sometimes I've gotten them, even though they were small bottles for Gwen and I, just a small celebration.
Oh yeah. I like La Marca also. That tastes really good.
Not a fan of the La Marca.
Really? I can like that one. Chateau Ste. Michelle, that's Washington.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, they have a delicious sparkling. And there was another one that I found. I took a picture of it. Let me look it up. That I took a picture of it because I thought it was cute. It was GH Mum. So G period H period Mum, MUMM. They are a champagne brut from Grand Cordon, so they are French. The bottle is actually kind of cool because it's got this red, and it's an indentation that it has there. It was really cool. This was actually going for, I think it was like $45 normally, like $61. So I thought price raise, that was not bad, considering, because most actual champagnes are very expensive. And I'm still struggling with that, so I'm going to leave it alone for a minute.
So we went now in California on my 50th birthday when Gwen did my party out there. We did the champagne she picked that day was to do the Chandon, and the farm and the location itself is a great, pretty, cool, festive location. I'm going to give it that. To me, their product was not. I mean, there was more show to their land than there was to their product.
Oh wow! Okay.
And that's just my personal feeling. Some of you may like the Chandon. I remember going to Mum, and while Mum is the Mum champagne, we went to that. The first time I think we went was 2013, maybe.
Okay.
And I remember because it was a rainy day, and literally, I mean, it was pouring rain as we pulled into the parking lot. We went in, we kind of hung out. All right. Wasn't really to me, it was, it wasn't the gaudy type stuff, but I mean, it was a nice location, but their product impressed me. Right now, I've been to a lot of wineries in California. We go out to Napa. Having the grounds don't always impress me. Our favorite winery out there to date is still, all right, is Saddleback. And you go to Saddleback, it is this little shack. They have picnic tables if it's warm outside. If it's in the wintertime, you're inside a shack around barrels of wine, sitting down with a guy at a counter. And I'm telling you, I think they have the best wine on all of Napa Valley. That's my opinion. Okay. Right. And I've been to the fancies and I've been to the not so fancies.
Non-pretentious is the beauty of them.
I'm trying to think. It was the one that I went there. I think it was Raymond that we went there and made my own mix, and that was in 2013. Made my own mix, and I had a pretty good blend I made. And you're able to buy a couple of bottles of your blend, and I actually remember because at the time I was just starting my mastermind out, and I think I bought 6 bottles of my blend. And for the people who joined my mastermind at my event, the following week, they got a bottle of the blend I made at the winery that had my logo onto it. So, but that was the only frills to that. When I went back, pretty place, all right, but to me the product didn't match up to its taste, and to me it's a lot about the product. One winery that had some pretty to it, some unique to it, and also had some good taste was one that I went to. It was Del Dotto Wines. And I really want really give a shout out because Dave Del Dotto. I knew Dave. I should say I bought courses when Dave Del Dotto was teaching real estate and selling infomercials on TV in the 1980s. And he did that for a while and then left it. And his passion was winemaking, so he bought his own winery and made his own wines. And I remember the day I got there, and he was coming out of his office, and I was overjoyed the fact that I got to meet the guy and taste his wines. And I want to tell you, as much as I learned from him in real estate, he's a much better wine guy. Anyway, so I've tasted all three of mine. I have one with pineapple juice, one with grapefruit, and one with orange. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest with you, my least favorite is the orange. That's the standard one everybody's had, right? And it's great and all, but
well, some people will add Chambord to their orange.
Yes.
I don't care for it.
Yeah.
You can add cherries. You can add strawberries. And you can add raspberries, blueberries, really all the berries go great. Then you can also do peach. But if you're doing peach, it then becomes a Bellini.
yes.
So it's no longer a mimosa, it's a Bellini. So just keep that in mind when you are deciding what you want. Some of the great things is when you're able to do a mimosa bar, because then you can do the grapefruit and then the pineapple and then the orange. You can make your own adventure, and those are fun because then everybody gets what they want, in the quantities that they want. So those are fun. They're great for events. If maybe you're having a bridal shower or just a gathering, a brunch, things of that nature. That's a great way to give everybody what they want on budget. So, and I usually do at least, because I have like 4 different. I do like my lox. I do love my smoked salmon.
Me too.
It just tastes.
So we don't have a lot of salmon in the house because my daughter is allergic, so we don't have it in here in the house much. So when I get it, I mean, I'd finished it, and before I came in to turn the podcast on, I had to go out and put it in a bag and wrap it and hide it so my daughter doesn't have to touch it. So
yeah.
And for the most part, I think she can clean up the dishes around it, but she can't. I don't know if she can touch, but she can't taste. If it has even if the oil's got on top, she was eating it, she'd break out.
Oh, poor thing. Is it all seafood or is it some specific? Because some people are shellfish versus.
Pretty much all seafood she has a problem with.
So this is my prettiness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get a picture of, and then I'll probably cut that because I know me, I will make a complete mess. Because that's just what I do. And
So over the years, the places that I've had this, I got to tell you, is here in Dallas, believe it or not, you can get exactly what I did from Einstein Bagels.
Okay.
It's right on their menu. You go and order it. The best place I ever had it. I was staying in San Diego, California. We were, I think, on the Marriott on one of the by one of the what's the boat place they have there? What's it called? By one of the not over on Coronado, but I want to say it was huh?
Is it a pier?
I don't know if it was a pier, or if it was a big boat dock. Like a lot of people had boats there, and I forget what it was called. And I want to say though it was a Marriott that we were staying at. I could have been wrong on that. And literally, they didn't have a restaurant or a breakfast place in like a coffee shop in the hotel. They had it down on the boardwalk going by the boats. But literally, it was part of the hotel.
Okay.
And literally went down there, and they had this in a sandwich. And I want to tell you, I had it so much that the bread bloated me when I went to get on the plane to leave. That's how much I loved it and how good it was, you know. And I think I had it for breakfast and lunch 2 days in a row.
Wow. Oh yeah, cleanse the palate. That's always important.
Yeah.
So I will allow you to. I'll be on
You're
mute
gonna
for.
put me on big screen so you watch me stuff my face right as I put that in.
That is my plan.
I can't believe that happened. So you would not believe what happened while trying to do this. And we're going to make fun of her for doing it. One of the things we should do for the podcast, I think, is we probably should have popped the cork before we went live. Anyway.
It wouldn't have mattered. Same thing would have happened.
But you would have been prepared for it. So I'm curious, guys, listeners. All right. Those who are listening live, tell us the best place you've had the salmon, the lox, the bagel. Because this is it's a pretty popular dish if you go look this up. A lot of places have it. There's a lot of brunch places you go to have this. I'd love to hear your thoughts as to where you might have had it. And like I shared the San Diego, what your favorite was to get it. So, and I got to fly. Skipping around here. So, if I were you, Gladys, I would stick a corkscrew into it and pull it out that way at this point.
I don't have one, so I'm.
How do you not have a corkscrew in your office?
Why would I have one? That's a better question. Why would I have one?
To open a bottle of wine in your office?
Yeah, but I have a. Oh yeah, I do have a. I've never had this happen before. Do you want to tell them what I'm struggling with, but don't want to do it on camera?
Yeah. So she broke off the cork in the bottle
as I was spinning it.
And basically, yeah, on a bottle of bubbly, it's going to be harder to get it out as you would as opposed to a wine bottle. But you may be stuck pushing it in and having to siphon the cork out of your drink at this point. But I think you should show the people on camera what it's like, and some things that maybe show them how to handle it when they do have it. Because I know this is not the first time it's happened to somebody.
No, this is the first time it's ever happened to me. I was spinning and spinning and spinning, and then it's like I felt, and then once I felt the crack, I'm like, oh, this is going to break.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Got it.
Cool.
All right. It is warm in here.
Of course it's warm.
Did I do the wrong one?
I'll fix it.
Thank you.
But I mean, show what your cork looked like so they can see what happened to this, guys.
I don't know if there's much of a cork left.
It should be in pieces, all right? So you see how that happens, all right? And literally, if it gets stuck down in there, you've got to try to pull it out. But how many of your times have had it break off in your wine bottle? All right. The older the wine bottles are, you know what I mean? That sometimes it sticks in there and you can't get it out. One of the things I learned over the past week is I didn't clean my desk last Monday night, and my desk is still sticky from last week.
Oh, wow. No, I have to clean it. I'm like, no.
No, I didn't take cleaner out. I just wiped it off, and I need to take cleaner out. Take everything off the desk, run cleaner, and clean the desk, because the stuff we eat on a weekly basis on here can get very, very sticky.
Mm.
Of course, I think I can count the hours on one hand that I spent at this desk over the past week. I've been out and about.
Well, I usually toast it a little bit more than that. This time I decided to leave it there. It's okay. It is I usually like a little bit more toasty.
Mm. But which one of your mimosas does it go better with?
Well, I'm first tasting it with the pineapple to see if I like it.
I've drank down, so I'm going to add some more to each one of mine. Give it more fizz.
That's the other nice thing is you can adjust it if you are do it yourself. You can adjust the amount of. So is your grapefruit your favorite one?
Yeah, you know that. Pineapple, though, is pretty good. My least favorite is the orange. Orange is just not my thing.
I have a good orange juice. What is your orange juice that you utilized?
Well, this one here is just a Kroger pulp-free orange juice.
Okay.
I think my problem with orange juice is I learned to like Sunny D too much, which is not fully orange juice.
Yeah, that's not orange juice.
Of course, the stuff that they chemicalize and mess with you, it's like, oh, that tastes good. I should drink that more, like Dr. Pepper.
Right. So I'm going to add a little bit more because I can really taste the pineapple. Okay, that's a little bit better, a little less pineapple-y. So I think that toned it down. I think the grapefruit goes well because it's citrusy, and you have that, especially if you put lemon in your cream cheese and your lox, that's going to pair very nicely.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. Normally I can make a mess of this. So I try when it doesn't matter what I do when I go out, I'm still going to get it all over my fingers. And I'm not using my big plate because this is where I had all my stuff. I'm using my small plate, and I probably should have done the other way around, use my little plates for all this stuff, and then ate on my big plate.
But a lot of brunch foods, you think about them, if you aren't wiping them off your face, they're not that good.
Mm.
If you're making a mess with with a lot of brunch foods, not breakfast foods, brunch foods. Yeah. This is a brunch food that, let's face it, the cream cheese can fall off of it and get stuck in your mustache. All right. A piece of onions can drop on your lap off right. It's almost like that greasy hamburger with all the fixings. Right. Really, really good. But come on, it just drips out the other side.
It does. Yeah. What we did one time is we had 3 different types of we had the lox, we had the Nova, and we had the smoked. And then we had like 3 different types of bagels. We had regular cream cheese, then the herby cream cheese, and then the fluffy cream cheese to give people options. You can have a whole bagel cream cheese bar too, and make it fun for people as part of the brunch.
But if you ever just go to the bagel store and you get bagel and cream cheese, are you into those flavored cream cheeses or no?
I'll do an everything bagel with cream cheese, regular cream cheese, or an onion bagel with cream cheese, or a blueberry bagel with cream cheese.
Okay.
Even the cinnamon one, cinnamon raisin with cream cheese. So I'll do the flavored bagel, but I just want the plain cream cheese.
So I'm in my later years. I don't like the I don't like the raisin, or I don't like the blueberry. I don't like the sweet bagels.
Mm.
I like the onion, the everything. There's been a garlic one that I've had, really good. It's like my tastes went different on the bagels. When I was younger, I loved the raisin bagel or the blueberry bagel.
Okay.
And I mean, actually, with the spreads, they're not really cream cheese. They're a spread because they're the cream cheese mixed with something.
Right.
And my favorite has always been the garden veggie that most people have. It usually has a mixture of vegetables kind of ground into it. Kind of similar to what I did. So,
I think it was in Vegas, what used to be the Hard Rock Cafe.
mm-hmm.
There was a restaurant inside, and I got the lox and cream cheese, and it actually came with a hard-boiled egg also.
Really?
Yeah, it had the tomatoes, it had the purple onions, it had the capers, the lemon, and then the sliced up egg right there. And it was like, oh my goodness, it was a full meal. It was absolutely delicious.
That would, I would think that would weigh me down. You're right.
But
grapefruit's still the best.
I think between these two, I just like simply orange juice, and I think that's why I like this one.
I'm sorry. I think simply, this is going to show you how much the advertising affects me. I think simply orange juice, and I think automatically think of President Snow from the Hunger Games. Just to go to show you, some of you guys will go get the advertisement. Simply Juices used Donald Sutherland in their advertisements, okay. And as you know, I just every time I hear their advertisement, I'm thinking like, oh, yeah, President Snow, yeah, he's going to have us. May the odds be ever in your favor. It's like I mix the two campaigns together.
Got it. Well, that's advertising for you. Sometimes people will buy it because of the actor that
bought it.
Exactly. This is very yummy. This is a great, for me, this is going to be dinner.
It's funny that they're not buying. They need to. They need to buy the stuff because we recommend it.
Right.
I mean, come on. Like the Way You Drink podcast recommended it. That means you should eat it and drink it. Because actually, we're not doing a commercial. We're just tasting it. I dare you, any drink company, to send us samples for us to taste, and we'll give you our real opinion.
Right. So one of the things that was kind of fun was I was looking up and I said, okay, lenders, what else do you have there? And of course, they have your regular traditional bagel and cream cheese, but they also had a Southwest Strata recipe. So you need either a packet of, and the packet comes with 6 bagels.
Yeah.
I think it was on sale for $3 and change for the six bagels. It would have been like close to $4 or $3.99 if I'd gotten the 4 bagels from the deli, but I opted to try something new. So you get a package of the lenders, either the onion or the plain bagels, and you cut them into 1-inch cubes. You'll need the chili powder, salt, pepper, chorizo. They call for a 16-ounce ground chorizo sausage. You want the good kind. Don't get the greasy stuff that's like dirt cheap. Get some good flavored one because this is a strata. You want it to taste yummy. A medium red onion, a large red bell pepper, a poblano pepper. So the poblano is the one that looks like it's a little bit longer. It's darker in green.
Mm-hmm.
You can just use a bell pepper if that makes it easier for you and you don't want to go through the trouble of the poblano. Jalapeno, shredded pepper jack cheese, 10 eggs. This is going to serve 12 people. So 10 eggs, 2.5 cups of whole milk. Yes, you can use other milk, but when it's whole milk, it's just going to make it nice and rich. And then for serving, you want some diced avocado, some fresh salsa, and some chopped cilantro. So you're going to cook the sausage, the chorizo. You're going to add the onions. You're going to add the peppers. And it's going to cook for about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on what you get. In a bowl, you want to toss the bagels. Mind you, the bagels are in 1-inch pieces with the chili powder, the salt, and the pepper. Sprinkle it with, or sprinkle half of that into a 9-inch greased baking dish. You then put half the sausage in there, half the cheese. Then, of course, more bagel, more sausage, more cheese. Then you're going to, of course, beat the eggs and the milk, and then you're going to pour it over. Cover it, refrigerate it for 2 hours at least or overnight. When you pull it out of the fridge, keep it out for a good half hour. Then you bake it covered at 350 for 30 minutes. And then you uncover it to get the bubbly in there for another 15, 20 minutes until it is set. You can then serve it with cilantro, avocado, and salsa, only if you want.
That sounds like work.
It sounded absolutely delicious. You can add that to your brunch. So you are adding your bagels and green cheese. You're adding a strata. You are adding your mimosa bar. Do it yourself. There is so much you can do with brunch where it holds. It's not gonna. Like if you have just regular eggs, they're gonna get cold. You don't want that. Pancakes and waffles, they could hold for a little bit. You might need a chafing dish in order to hold a little bit longer. So there are ways that you can keep everything kind of warm. But if you want to keep it simple, you have this strata in there. You have your bagels. You have all your fixins. You have your mimosa bar. You can just get a bucket, or you can get if you have a bowl, just put ice and then stick your champagne or sparkling in there to keep it cold. Plenty of glasses. These glasses work well. My glass that I had here, I broke, and I went to look for another one. And I couldn't find one quickly enough because I only had so much time to pick up my salmon and get back to the office. So I said, I'm going to stop. I'm going to make one stop. If it's not there, I'm using these little guys. Mm-hmm. One is from this is the Gladys 13.1. So that was one race that I did a couple years ago. And then my Oregon Brew Running Series. This particular one is Abbey Road. This is the only winery that we run at. It'll be I think it's the 25th this August. So Oregon Brew Running Series, part of the funds do go to a local nonprofit, which is great. They are nationwide. So if you are a runner or walker and want a beer at the end of your run, look up Brewery Running Series. There might be one in your state. Washington just started. Oregon's been around since 2016. So it's a fun group of people. It is not timed. The first male and female, usually at least in Oregon, they get a 6-pack of beer. Everybody else gets high fives, and they do raffles. So you get various swag. You get to check out the various breweries, in this case, one winery in the year. And they have other events. So if you're a runner or walker, check them out. They're usually for a good cause. And you get to meet some great people, because then people get to know you. The volunteers get to know you. They know, yeah, I've been checking your ID. I don't need to check it anymore. I get my wristband. They know I'm part of the brew crew. They just scan. They don't even look at my Eventbrite that I've registered for. They just go, here, go ahead and register. You get to make your own.
Let's just face it. Gladys is now admitting that she's known to be overage. She's no longer has the teenager effect on her face.
Well, I did have a young girl back in February, March, whatever it was. And she wants my ID. Of course, I'm there to run. There's no bag check. So I leave everything in the car, only what I need. And I looked at her and I said, sweetheart, I said, I go, I've been born I'm probably older than your parents are. I said, I don't have my ID. I'm not going to go back. And she's like, I go, I'm 51, girl. And she's like, she reluctantly gave me the bracelet. And then, of course, one of the other folks that knows me, she's like, hey, how you doing? High five. And it's like, and she looks at her and she's like, she's fine. It's like, okay, made her feel better. But yes, the first time I got beer, I did not get carded when I was 21. I was so like, I did not get carded. So yes, I had a poopy face when I got home and I'm like, Mom, I didn't get carded. So.
No, our story is my younger brother one time when we were, I think, 17 and 18, maybe 19 and 17. I don't know. We came home early from my grandparents. We decided, the two of us decided to come home early and proceeded to stop at a few bars on our way back home. And we stopped at one bar that I used to live above. Just saying, I used to rent a room above this bar before this happened. So the owner of the bar kind of knew me by face. And I was in there and she came back in the corner and me and my brother are there. And she looks at my younger brother and says, I don't ever want you to bring a minor in here again. And of course, you know, most people will be like, but he's my younger brother. You know what I mean? I'm like, you don't throw your brother under a bus. He's got a drinking connection. You let him go. And we went to another bar. And I remember we went to the other bar. We went in, we sat down. And the guys on the other side said that, yeah, they're okay.
So being down in California.
Now they ID everybody. But back then, in the 80s, we got away with this stuff. Not no more.
Right. I was at a bar. One of the other young ladies and I, we weren't drinking. We were having our bougie water, which was the sparkling water with flavor in it. And we were sitting outside. Well, the owner of the bar came over and sat down. She's chatting with us, with my brother, also my sister-in-law that they know. And she had met me like 2 days prior.
Yeah.
And so we were talking and what have you. And it's like, oh, is this your daughter? and I smiled and I said, I go, well, thank you for thinking I could have such a beautiful daughter. I said, no, I said, I would have been really young. She's 33 years old, you know, and I would have been, you know, so she's like, oh, okay. And then afterwards she says, yeah, I was about to card her, but in the conversation, and I knew she was curious to know how old is this beautiful young lady, because she looked like she was probably 20 years old. Super cute, but she also wasn't drinking either. So I'm like, well, she ain't drinking, but she was at a bar, even though it was outside. So she was being particular. She was following the rules, which I appreciate. But yeah, I looked old enough to be, you know, the mama of this gorgeous 20-year-old. So I'll take it as a compliment, you know.
Really?
So play with your bagels, y'all. Try different things. Usually with like croissants, I turn them into almost like I soak them in milk and eggs and cinnamon, and then I cover them and I keep them overnight and I soak them, and then the next day I throw them in the oven. So that's what I'm doing with my croissant. With bagels, try different things. You know, you want to do something.
Well, no, have you ever done this combination on a croissant and not a bagel?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty good. The croissant is a sweeter, lighter pastry.
Yeah.
All right. It's actually a pretty good combination. And I never, ever, unless I try to experiment going back and forth, and we should have on a show like this, we should have experimented two ways. But I did it one time as a cross to try it because I never would think to have cream cheese on a croissant.
Right.
It's a different combination. But believe it or not, when you put the salmon on, you put, you know, tomatoes, some capers, things like that, it does give a different outcome. All right. As opposed to just cream cheese. I don't know if I can do just cream cheese.
Well, the other thing you can do is that if you say, I don't want the cream cheese, especially if you're lactose intolerant, there are some cream cheese. There's no gluten in it. There's no lactose in it. There's soy based. But if you want something different, try an avocado.
Yeah.
Mash up the avocado. It's going to have that same consistency, that same creaminess. You're putting tomatoes, you're putting purple onions, you're putting capers. It's still going to give you that consistency. The other thing you can do with your bagels, if you're like, oh, they're getting stale, you know what? Get a cheese grater, grate it, and use it as your bread, like bread. If you're going to make breaded salmon, blackened salmon, or chicken. So now you have your breadcrumbs, which you did not have to go out and buy, and they're fresh in that they're, how old they are. But, sometimes you just say, well, I'm not going to eat it anymore. It's too stale for for what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can always, if you know they're stale and you want to make it a little bit easier, throw them in the freezer. So that way, when they're frozen or close to frozen, it makes it a lot easier to grate. So there are various ways of doing that, using them as breadcrumbs. So there's multiple things you can do with your with what you have. The other thing you can do with bagels is if you cut the center a little bit more, you can also put it upside down so that way it's facing this way.
Yeah.
So that way, and then you cut it open. You put a little bit of butter in there, and then you crack an egg in there. So now you have a hole in the wall, and it's a. And the other thing is that you can make if you have bacon or ham or Canadian bacon, you make an egg. You can put mayo on it or not put mayo. You can then slap cheese on it, egg, bacon, or egg, ham, egg, Canadian bacon, cheese, mayo or no mayo, avocado, no avocado, tomato, no tomato. And now you have this delicious breakfast sandwich. If you build it the day before and you wrap it up, if you're going to the office, throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds. It helps reheat everything up. And now you can have a breakfast sandwich. Super easy, super quick. And if you want to make it easier, use hard-boiled eggs. Slice up the hard-boiled eggs on your bagel. At this point, I would suggest avocado. So you want to have the avocado, the hard-boiled eggs that's sliced. Whether you want a protein or don't want a protein, you can add that. Then cheese, and you don't have to melt it. That's the beauty of that, is that because it's a hard-boiled egg, you can just do a sliver of a cheddar. You can do a pepper jack if you want. You can use really any cheese that you want, any sliced cheese, and then your bagel. If your bagel is nice and fresh, you don't even need to toast it. But if it is in the fridge, like these lenders are, throw them in the toaster. Just make them slightly. I threw it down just a little bit more to make it a little bit more brown, but you can just warm them up. It depends on your preference. So there are a lot of things that you can do with your bagels. Cream cheese, you can add your own homegrown herbs if you want. So that way it's nice and fresh, and it could be with what you're going to make right now. So don't feel like you have to make the whole batch. You can just separate a little bit of it. Like if I had this much, well, then I'm going to put herbs enough for this much. You don't have to make the whole amount, because what if somebody else in your household does not like herbs or does not want herbs in theirs? So play with it. Have fun with your bagels and cream cheese. Hopefully we gave you some ideas of what you can do with your bagels and beyond. But this was, experiment with your mimosas too. Lay out all the different things, and put them in carafes. You can also use, if you don't have some carafes, you know what? Use some, mason jars.
Well, yeah, we've got a ton of them at my house.
Yeah, mason jars. Put a ribbon around it. Put some, whatever it is that is going to make it look fun. Put a bow on it. Put your orange juice in there. There you go. You can dress up just about anything, but it's all about having fun and enjoying the company, and just adding a little bit of little touches to your party. So that's all I got.
That's it?
That's it. I always have more, but that's it.
Yeah.
So remember, y'all, go to likethewayyouDrink.com. Join our Insiders Club. We do have a tequila tasting in Oregon, specifically West Lynn. September. I think it's the 21st. Let me do a double check. September 21st. at La Fiesta Mexican Kitchen and Tequila Bar. There is a run in Hood River right before that. So if you want to go to the run or a walk right before, check out a brewery and then do tequila tasting. We will take care of you. I will be. They had to cancel the July one because of everybody being on vacation. So we couldn't do the one that was right after tequila National Day of Tequila. So hopefully you can make the September 21st one. If you have questions, let us know. But go to likethewayyouDrink.com, the Insiders Club. You will get the deets as we push them out because only our Insiders Club knows all the details of what's going on.
Speaking of which, I want to play this little video about our Insiders Club.
Ooh, yeah, please do.
Hold on. It's going to put us our background. It's going to put it up real quick.
Discover the ultimate celebration of taste on Like the Way You Drink, a lively podcast where drinks and food pairings come to life. Join hosts Gladys Boutwell and Tim Gillette every Monday night for a live recording that dives deep into their shared passion for all things delicious. Catch the excitement live on Facebook or YouTube, and don't worry if you miss an episode. Find past shows on iTunes and Spotify. Unlock exclusive experiences by joining the Insiders Club, offering special virtual and live tasting events alongside one-of-a-kind handcrafted liquors. Upgrade to the VIP Plus membership for annual kits that transform your tasting journey into something truly unforgettable. Since the idea was born in August 2021, and with the first episode aired live on November 8th, 2021, Like the Way You Drink has been turning Mondays into a feast for your senses.
Little commercial Tim created.
I know, he's so good with that. Y'all, in case you didn't know, this is the reason why we're together. Is because he knows all the tech stuff. I enjoy doing the research on all the other stuff. So,
as you see, how much I know about the research.
That's my arena, and I enjoy it. So, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate y'all.
Before we go though, we got to tell everybody about who pays for this thing.
I know that would be us.
Yeah.
We will tell you.
Well, about this person first.
Yes, that would be me, Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design, helping employers become employers of choice through providing employee benefits. There's 101 different ways you can show your employees how much you care about them. Let's have a conversation and see what can you do in order to attract and retain quality staff. Go to insurancedesignpros.com. On the upper left-hand corner, you will see the white paper. But if you want to have a conversation with me, go to enrollnoworegon.com. I will guide you and I will connect you with the local broker in your area. This is Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. And this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Tim. Simple, easy websites. And yes, it's that simple. So we like to make it so simple and easy that your clients can find you, get to know you, and buy from you faster. We believe in online success, 3 clicks or less. I want you to think about that. If they went to your website today, how many clicks would it take them to connect to you, to buy from you, all right, or get on the phone with you? If they can't do it in 3 clicks or less, ladies and gentlemen, your website needs some help. Other than that, that's all I got to say this week. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's all, folks. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week with another fun episode as we are every week. We appreciate you guys. We will tell you before we go, just cheers.
Cheers, y'all.